What's up, YouTube? I decided I'm going to skip my job interview for car washing. It's not that I don't like washing cars. It's some of these locations be too damn far away, and they don't give you enough time to get there. And if it takes you an hour or 2 hours to find a place to do a job interview, then that's not the ideal place. But we got two interviews coming up tomorrow, and one of these will be the job I'm looking for. If I can get into a retail store or the airport, that's it. I'm trying to narrow it down to just two, you know, things of that nature. All right, now this is another YouTube video. I know some of y'all probably want me to get to Gym Bully Part 2. We'll get to that later today. This one's going to be another video from my old YouTube channel. I don't know if it's going to create enough traction. We'll see. Because a lot of YouTubers don't talk about it as much. A lot of pickup artists and dating coaches don't talk about it as much. We're going to call this Part 2, Sex in the Summertime. Now, the reason why I'm calling it Sex in the Summertime is because I had originally got the idea of my other video, Sex on Valentine's Day. Now, Sex in the Summertime is where this will be considered a prequel to the other video that I have uploaded, which was the top 8 places where you can get in trouble, but it will do the complete opposite in my video. And that is, this is where some of the most dangerous sexual transmitted diseases pick up. See, when it's 3 months of the summertime, a lot of guys and women go out to the nightclubs and the bars for the whole entire summer. You know, the school semester's out. You know, you're happy to be out of high school and college or junior college. And you want to, as they used to say, sell your wild oats to sow. Or, I like my favorite one, get freaky like a farm animal on the farm. Anyway, the point is, sex in the summertime is where all the sexual transmitted diseases come. You know, the HIV, AIDS, gonorrhea, syphilis. This is where all the deadly diseases go rampant. And what I think is missing from those pickup artists, dating coaches, seminars that last 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, they don't talk enough about sexual transmitted diseases. They'll talk about everything else but the most important stuff. You know, they'll talk about how to run game, whether it's day game, night game, how to pick up the girl, get the phone number, and try to hit that ass the same night. But they don't want to talk about sexual transmitted diseases. Oh, no. Pickup artists and dating coaches will stay the hell away from that subject. You know, you notice most high schools and most colleges, they really don't talk about it as much. And I'm willing to bet my money in Las Vegas, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting that is the #1 problem why most men don't seem to have an idea what they're up against when trying to go out to the nightclubs and the bars. You know, you meet so many women, they have so many sexual partners that most black men, white men, Latino men, and Asian men usually don't know how many sexual partners they've had or the woman have had. And this can happen in 5 years. It could be 10. It could even be 15. Worst case scenario, it could be 20 years later. So I thought I would just come on here and make a video because it hasn't really been discussed. And you see, when you make videos, people will hold you to a standard. They'll say, well, you ain't made this into a video. You ain't made that into a video. You didn't touch on this. You didn't touch on that. Now, it's good to get tested every now and then to see if you're positive or negative. You know, negative means they can't find nothing. So that's actually good. When they say you tested positive, it's just like if you get caught in the Olympics, you test positive, that's actually bad. So it's a similar drug testing. And you see, there be so much sex rampant in the summertime. It could be anywhere. It could be in a high class area, middle class. Usually it's always middle to low class is where sex just rampant. It's just craziness. Now, you guys know how to buy condoms. I'm sure you guys know that because some people say, well, they're too expensive. Or I'm allergic to the condoms. And again, that depends on the person. There's a shot you can get at the doctor. Now, sex in the summertime is where all the stuff takes place. You know, having sex at the park, having sex at the beach, doing it in the elevator, having sex on top of a fire truck, breaking into a high school and having sex on top of the teacher's table, or some men will go as far as to turn on the washer machine and the dryer and bang the hell out of the girl while the washer machine or dryer is going. And usually these people forget to put on some protection. And then next thing you know, 5 years or 15 or 20 years later, your ass got AIDS or HIV, and then you test positive, and then your life's messed up. And then if you give it to someone else, their life is infected. And then if you have a kid, and the kid's life is messed up. Now there's no way to tell, but usually most guys get tested, and usually that's how a guy can always. I don't want to say that gives you the advantage all the time, but it's better because then you know what you're up against. Now, the reason why I'm putting the things that they do is so you can kind of be aware. Even sometimes when you have threesomes, foursomes, and orgies, that could be 60 to 80% chance you can catch something. Because again, most men can't count how many sexual partners they've had. Most women can't count how many sexual partners they had. Best way is absence, which means to do absolutely nothing if you're not 100% sure should you or should you not have sex. And of course, there's sex addicts. Sex addicts that just like to have sex 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They actually do officially exist in different cities and states. And if you're good, I'm not saying if you're good enough, but if you're a bad boy or a player and you go to the nightclubs and the bars, you will be able to have a superpower to tell which women have a lot of sex and which women have very little to no sex. You'll be able to tell who has too many sexual partners or who don't. You can't be an expert in your mom's basement and say, well, I do a lot of reading. You have to actually go out into the field. That's how a lot of these doctors and scientists find out the information they need to find out. Like if they need to find out when is the next thunderstorm or earthquake or tsunami, they have to go to that location to find out why the climate in that location is too hot or too cold, or why is it a combination of hot and cold too many times. And then they find out, and then they're able to predict maybe 5 years from now or 10 or 15 years from now, there'll be an earthquake in New York City or in Chicago or in Florida. They'll be able to predict 10 to 15 years from now what are the odds on A, B, C, and D. This is how they are able to collect enormous data on everything from HIV to AIDS to earthquakes, thunderstorms, what's going to happen to technology as it keeps evolving. You need doctors, you need scientists. And if anyone's a real pickup artist, it's actually the doctors and the scientists who go out and become a practitioner. A practitioner is someone who goes out into the field and does enormous research data to either prove or disprove someone's claims, good or bad. And then that information can be stored on a computer disk and on files that could be anywhere from 10 to 15 years. They might have to update some information. They might have to add some new information, good or bad. So every 5 years, they might have to go to a location and see if the area or the information is the same or has it changed. This is how they're able to come up with the statistics for sex and dating from the ages of 18 to I think to 45 or 50. And you'll hear them on the news say stuff like, well, HIV and AIDS is up 50% or 60% because men or women are having too much sex. So it's gone up 60%. Or they'll say it's a 60% drop off. And the reason why I'm making the video is because pickup artists and dating coaches, they don't talk about how to protect yourself when having sex. So I suggest you buy some condoms. Now, you ain't got to go to, and I advise, do not take your ass to a 99-cent store and buy those cheap-ass generic condoms. Just because they're 99 cents it's not a 100% guarantee that if you use those, you get a woman pregnant or you catch something. You got to go to Target, Rite Aid. You got to go to stores like that. Hell, you can go to a Touch of Romance that sells 20 different brands of condoms. Each one is very strong and powerful. My personal favorite is the one that makes it feel like you're not wearing nothing. Versus the ones that when you put them on, your skin turn red and you get the itching and the scratching. Then you got an allergic reaction to the shit. So they have like 20 different brands. You can even go to the clinic. You can even go to your local doctor and get condoms to protect yourself. But stay away from the 99-cent ones, because those are actually land scans and those are not 100% effective. That means you can still get AIDS or HIV. But during the summertime, throughout the whole summer, somewhere, someplace, someone's having sex. You know, it doesn't matter if it's black, white, Latino, Asian, or Indian, man or female, young or old, black or white, someone's having sex. You know, but usually, commonly, they would say if you're having a threesome, a foursome, especially orgies, is where you have 60 to 80% chance of catching something. Now, I'm not saying that you should not explore a threesome, a foursome, or an orgy. What I'm saying is you need to be fully aware of the consequences of your actions. Same thing if you go to swinger clubs. It can happen there. Somebody ain't getting checked out by the doctor, and you know, after 4 or 5 visits, you don't know what you got or who got something. Even if you hear them say now there are new evidence that you got to be careful from hitting it from the back. I ain't making this stuff up, and I'm not saying it to be a fearmonger, but one of my sexual fantasies is anal sex. I like to, you know, bang girls in the back of their ass, and I've done some research. It's good if it's a sexual fantasy, but then they also require that after you hit it, you should go take a shower, and then maybe a day or two later go out and get checked just to be on the safe side. So you can catch something. Of course, you already know needles is the fastest way to catch AIDS or HIV, so no needle sharing. Now, the reason why I say most of your high schools and colleges don't even teach sex education is for obvious reasons. Now, can porn be used as sex education? Yes, it can, but that also can lead to becoming addicted to sex. So I would say too much porn is no longer a good thing. Can talking to a stripper or a porn actress actually help you? The answer is yes, but doing it too much just leads to you just trying to smash them. So your best bet is to just go to a doctor or go on YouTube and research it. But the video's called Sex in the Summertime because that's where all the sex go down. That's where anything that you can think of, it goes down in the summertime. People getting it on in the car, in the truck, people doing it out at the park, at the beach, screwing in the elevator. I'm just naming off certain stuff. It usually happens in the summertime. Usually somebody might get a camera and film it because they want to be a film director. That happens too. And then you get some sick, perverted person that's got a camera that's filming you doing a threesome, a foursome, or an orgy. And then you might get blackmailed for some money if you're rich and famous. Or if they think you're rich and famous. That can happen. So I'm just naming off scenarios that could actually transpire in a real life. May not happen to you, but you might have some friends that have it happened to in high school and college because no one gave them this information. You know, a lot of men got a lot of pride and don't want to admit when they've made a mistake. You got some women that have got a lot of pride and don't want to admit to a mistake. So you may not get it in 5 years. It could be 10, 15, 20 years later that you get it. And I'm usually just saying what can sometimes be the cause. Now, if I do a threesome, I probably won't get anything. But that doesn't mean that because I did a threesome or a foursome or an orgy that I'm in good health. That doesn't mean you or your friend won't be in good health if you try what I try. It's like being Batman from the comic books. Just because Batman can do something crazy and dangerous and spectacular and survive doesn't mean the average human being can do it. Just because Tony Stark Iron Man can make 50 Iron Man prototypes and then go in outer space doesn't mean the average person can do it. So that's why I said scenarios. Now, the information can change. So by the time you see this video, it could be 5 months later, it could be 5 years later that the information has changed. They might have some more stuff that we are not aware of. So if anybody's the real pickup artist or dating coach, it's doctors, it's sciences. And most of these pickup artists and dating coach morons don't talk about this in a 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour seminar. Because they're utless, gutless cowards. And all they want you is to buy their books, their DVDs, and give them some money so they can be rich and famous, so they can physically, sexually attract the women that you are trying to get. They don't talk about safe sex. So I'm talking about safe sex. Because it ain't being talked about in high school and college, and you go to these pickup artists and these dating coaches and they're not talking about it, that's information that could have been used to help you so you don't be saying 10, 15, 20 years in the future, man, if I only knew that information, my life wouldn't turn out like this. So I'm making the video. An asshole is making the video. Go figure. An asshole's making this video. You know, the ones you look up to could tell you this information but don't want to tell you. So you can go to a Target, a Rite Aid, you can go to a Touch of Romance, hell, you can go on Amazon and order the shit. But do not go to those 99-cent store because it's $1 and you think that's going to help you. And then if you do find yourself in a situation where the girl's sexual fantasy is a little too crazy, a little too extreme, a little too over the top, and you have to do a threesome, a foursome, or an orgy, then maybe a day or two later just go to the doctor and get checked out. Now, if you try to get her to come to the doctor and she refuse, then that kind of already tell you your answer what kind of person you're dealing with. Same thing if it's a woman. If a woman asks a man to get tested and the man refuses, then again, the woman knows what kind of man she's dealing with. So that's why I'm making the video. I'm trying to make this not too long, not too short, because it's about to be lunch. Until next time, peace.